Good day, El Paso. Your local junk hauler here, Charlie, aka Dumpster Daddy, epdumpsterdaddy.com. That is our website. Go ahead, check us out over there. Go ahead, see what we do. If you have any questions about our services and what we do, how we offer, and just who we are as people, epdumpsterdaddy.com is where you're going to find that out. So go ahead, check us out over there. After you read the testimonials, take a look at some pictures. You decide that you want to get rid of some things and you want to get a hold of us. If you prefer email, I believe you can email. You can click on contact us right there in the website. It'll send us an email, generate an email. You can send that email to info at epdumpsterdaddy.com. If you just want to go ahead, open up your email and punch that right into the send, to send it to us, put in info at epdumpsterdaddy.com. And I do ask if you're going to send us an email, please give us 24 hours to respond to it. Give us some time to go in, get the day done, and look at our emails and then start responding to things that way. If you do want to get a hold of us right away and you prefer text messaging or calling, give us a text message or call. 915-710-0740 is the phone number, is the business line. That is the number that you will call if you want to get immediate hold of me. Sorry. But if you want to get me immediately, you give that phone number a text message or call. I usually respond right away unless I'm dealing with another client. And if I'm dealing with another client, I will get to you as soon as I'm done. So, but most of the time you get to me immediately right there, 915-710-0740. All righty, folks, we are back at it. We are back here in the saddle. We had to take some time off. We took some time off. We went back home to Chicago to spend some time with family. My grandmother on my father's side passed away. And we went home to fellowship with family, to lay her to rest, and to just be around and see some cousins, see some great uncles that we hadn't seen in a very long time. Then shortly thereafter, we just stayed in Chicago because our family reunion on my mother's side was up in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we stayed with my parents, and then we drove up from Chicago, Illinois, or the suburbs of Chicago, and we drove to Minneapolis to be with the family for the family reunion up there. So for the first 2 weeks of July, shortly the 5th, July 5th, right after the 4th of July, we had been traveling for about 2 weeks. And we came back home, we landed, we touched back down here in El Paso, and then we worked in the operation for a little bit. But we didn't record much video. Well, I didn't record anything at all except for little short clips for Instagram and stuff to put out there. But I didn't record anything for YouTube. We took a break from content creation during that time. Then the week after we landed here in El Paso, we went and left for another 4 to 5 days to go to New York to see my sister-in-law, the baby, and my brother-in-law. So we got a chance to visit all of the boroughs up there and, eat some good food and visit with them and things of that nature. So now that is all done, the summertime travels have ended. It is time to get back to work. It is time to get back to what we do best, and that is junk removal, baby. And that is getting in here and creating some of this content. As you know, small business owner, we are making this content to get out there, get into the algorithm so that people, when they're searching junk removal, trash removal, furniture removal, whatever they need removed up in the algo, when they put it in Google, when they put it up in Internet Explorer, Yahoo, that we be one of the first ones that pop up. We're doing this all organically. We do not pay for ads. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I did dabble in some ads and paying a company to run a small segment on their platform, one of the news stations here. And then also we were given a grant through one of the other cable networks here in El Paso, but that'll be stuff that I'll get into later, let you all know how it worked. But also while we were away, we still picked up some subscribers, which is surprising to me. We weren't creating any new content, but people was going through finding value in some of the old content, some of the stuff that we were doing back then, and they were asking questions. So we did come up with 2 questions from 2 subscribers. So we're going to go ahead and address some of those as we go along. We're going to address one of those right now. And the one question is, they're asking, what was I currently driving in the video? This was a more recent one when we got the 250. And so, yes, we are driving a Ford 250. We're pulling our original trailer. This is the second truck, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump in here real quick to a video I got queued up and some slides, some pictures or whatever of my first truck. Me and my wife moved here. So this is her hometown. And when we came here, we used our severance. Well, I used my severance from Disney because I decided I wasn't going back into the corporate world. And by making that decision, I had to figure out what was I going to do to generate money and bring some cash flow into this family. So she suggested that we buy a truck. And I went along with that suggestion. But along with that, we have 2 vehicles, 2 cars. She has a Mustang, and then I have a Kia Cadenza. And so it's like no point in having 3 cars for 2 people. One of those vehicles have to be making some money. So, of course, we're going to look at the truck. The truck is the one who should be the one to go out here and generate some income. We were blessed, too, during the pandemic. Me and my wife got out of auto loan debt. We were able to use some of that money that we were getting from the government, some of that money that we were getting from unemployment and all that type of stuff. And we just applied that to credit card bills and to the auto loan. And we were able to pay off my car. We were also able to pay off and sell a vehicle that she had. So the pandemic paid dividends for us, even though it was challenging, just like it was for everybody else. We had our challenges, but we took advantage of what we could at that time. So getting that severance from Disney, we came in and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my screen right here. And we were able to acquire a truck. And this is the truck that we got. I call her Diamond because she's a diamond in the rough when we found her. This was during a time when trucks were selling for astronomical prices. Well, right before that was happening, we actually had to negotiate and did our best to negotiate this truck down to a very, very decent price, I believe. I think we paid $12,700 for it. They had it marked at like almost 16. I'm showing off the marketing materials here. This is some of the first pieces of marketing material that we had come through. Before I had even found the truck, I had started ordering the marketing material, started working on the website. The website wasn't live at this point. We were using GoDaddy here, and I was still working on it, but you can see the plates on there. It's a brand new paper plates that they use here in Texas. But yeah, that's our boo. She has some, she's a work truck. She came from the oil fields, and she had some little scratches on her. Some paint was missing here and there, but everything, when I took her to my mechanic up in the Northeast, his name's James, and I'm gonna go back in here, tell this story about James. I found James because one thing I was not going to do was buy a truck that was a lemon, a truck that was a piece of shit. Well, excuse my language, a truck that was a piece of trash. Because, you know, me and my wife, she's my fiance at the time, I told her what my plan was, and I was not going back into the corporate world. So I had to get something. It was paramount to me. It was very important that I get a truck, a vehicle that was reliable, dependable, that wasn't going to stop on me, that wasn't going to start automatic, all of a sudden, a month later, 6 weeks later, start spitting oil all over the place, or the engine light comes on, or the transmission light comes on, or just any of the dummy lights come on. I didn't have time for any of that. So it took us some time from when we moved here from Orlando, and we dropped down in El Paso, and my poor wife, I drug her all around this city, from dealership to dealership, from personal seller to personal seller, from personal seller to dealership to the mechanic, to have him look at the truck. I wanted her to be along in the process to see how we were going to make this happen, so that she could see that I was serious, and that she could also understand what it was taking to go in and make this dream happen for me. And she helped me acquire that dream by helping me, get the truck. And then she's my finance girl. She's my CFO. So, I run it past her. She didn't want to pay the $16,000 for the truck that they had the truck at, or whatever it was. And I told her that we're going to have to, negotiate. We're going to pay a little bit more than we want, but we're not going to pay that price. It's a used truck. There's some margin for negotiations there. So after some time, after I took it to my man up there in the Northeast, James, and James is a Chevy guy. And so when I first took the first truck up there to see James, I noticed that he had a bunch of Chevy what do you call it, decor all over his garage. And he has a big space where he rents out garage spaces to other people who either want to store their vehicles or who other mechanics, but he has a big garage that he works on in himself. That's his garage. And then he has like 10 to 12 other smaller garages for storage or other mechanics that he says work there. But saw all of the Chevy stuff going there. I took this man a couple Tundras. I took him a GMC. I took him, and the rest of them were all basically Fords. He hates Ford. So I told him, I said, man, why you keep bringing me all these Fords? I was like, because you hate them. You made that paramount to me, and you made that understood when we talked. And I brought you the first Ford, and he ripped that Ford apart. He also ripped apart the Tundra that I brought him. It was some electrical things going on in it. He didn't like the way some things was rewired. He didn't like the paint job on it. He didn't like a lot of the stuff that he said people do to try to pass it off as a good truck, to try to sell it to somebody who's unsuspecting. Then the couple of trucks, the Fords that I took to him from, the dealerships, some side dealerships out there on Alameda and some other dealerships from around the city. He ripped them all apart. Some was too rusty. Some he hooked it up to his machine, and his machine wasn't firing back the way that he says they should. So he was like, well, when a truck does that and is not firing back or giving me the all clear, he said it is letting me know that they've either unplugged the truck from the battery, which means the battery in the computer and the truck hasn't really talked to each other yet. So once you start running this truck and you get it going for about 4 to 6 weeks, he said that check engine light gonna pop on, then you're gonna start finding all type of issues and codes gonna be coming out the wazoo. Not a good truck. But when I took him this truck here that you see, he basically told me, he said, there's nothing bad that I can tell you about this truck. And when I tell you, he went through the truck just like he did them all. He popped the hood, climbed up in the hood. All you saw was his feet dangling out from the top. He had his little flashlight. He going all in there trying to find little leaks. He crawled up underneath the bottom of the truck up in here. And he was just like hanging on to whatever he was doing to just feel stuff and checking for rust. And he was like, this truck came from the oil fields. You can tell it. He said he don't really like buying used trucks because, or from the oil fields, because he said them kids out there, they always putting it in 4-wheel drive and just going crazy out there and really putting some wear and tear on these trucks. But this particular truck here seemed like it was very well maintained and very well taken care of. It only had 114,000 miles on it. There was no wear and tear on the seats. There was no rust on it anywhere. We were really blessed. The Lord really blessed us when we found this truck. And this truck gave us, I think it was almost 50,000 miles before it finally died on me. It gave me 4 years worth of miles in 2 years. So it did what it needed to do for the business and got us into where we're at right now. So that is our truck. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and do another video, because this is the beginning of when we started the business. There was another process that we were going through while we were still doing jobs. I was still doing junk removal jobs just with the truck. I didn't have a trailer. But I was working on sidewalls, and I'm gonna get into that project. Me and my father-in-law, I did record some video, but back in the day, 2.5, 3 years ago, me and my father-in-law did put sidewalls together, and they were pretty solid. Them sidewalls made us a lot of money with that truck. And then once we got the trailer, woo, baby, did we do some work. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, get this thing chopped up, cleaned up, and post it out there for you guys to see. Thank you guys for coming along and joining us for this journey. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to all those people who sent the question to me. I'm going to make sure, and hopefully this is one of the questions that we had. What kind of truck are we using, or did we use? So we started out with this F-150. We are in a 250 now. But thank you guys. Like and subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, please leave them for me. Leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on with you guys. How are you guys trying to build your junk removal business? How are you guys trying to build whatever business it is that you are trying to build, period? We are all entrepreneurs out here trying to get to that bag. Let's get it together. Dumpster Daddy out.